trucks loaded and then leaving and be able to log how the movement of those trucks were taking place. So it's with great pleasure that I guess we get to be able to come back and now in front of a larger audience at MDOT, as well as with the Federal Highway Administration, to showcase what is taking place right now in the industry and how we can hopefully move that towards more of the electronic load tickets. So we've got two teams right here. We've got a team in the kind of the group picture there with Great Lakes Aggregates. We've got Steve Brooks, Art Martinez, Jordan Stoll, and Maggie McManus. And then we also have Susie Holycross, and Diana Duro from Command Elcon. So with that, I just really want to turn control over to the team at Great Lakes Aggregates. And Art, I'll kind of turn the mic over to you. And if you guys want to go from there, appreciate it.
Will do. Can everybody see the first slide we have here?
Yes.
All right, so good morning, everybody. My name is Jordan Stoll over here at Great Lakes Aggregates, and I'm going to kind of...
Just one thing, sorry, you're in the presentation for your speaker mode, so if you could just put it into the other, that would be great.
No problem. Don't work too well here. How's that one look?
Looks great. Thank you very much.
Sorry about that. So again, we're going to kind of discuss the implementation of the equipment and the systems that we incorporated from Command Elcon's Apex system. We have it over here at our quarry at Sylvania Minerals, and since we first threw it out into our dynamics over here, we actually brought it to our recycled aggregate site as well, finishing up at our Crooks location being our third location that we started putting this technology at.
We actually launched in June of 2018, and one of the reasons why we took a look at this, because we were getting long bottlenecks at the way out process. So of course we reached out to Command Elcon at ConAg, and we're talking to them, and we're impressed with the license plate recognition system. So that's kind of how the ball got rolling with us.
So basically, the Apex software allows us to ticket all our customers real time as they come in. Before we used what was it,
Celtec. That was one of their grandfathers.
Celtec, and after they bought them out. So it was able to be customized towards our operations. We have custom reports, and we've always been able to kind of make changes to our ticketing screen to better, increase the output and how we do things on our side. Every company has things different traffic patterns, different ways of billing, and just it's been very helpful to adapt to the uniqueness of our industry. So it allows us to collect the customer data real time as these customers come onto our facilities, and the software ensures that we're appropriately creating that data and putting it into our system and billing correctly.
So one of the areas we improved on is we used to collect all of the information when the truck came on the outbound side. So now we're collecting all that data when the trucks come into our plant. So like I said, that's cut down on our bottleneck immensely.
Absolutely. Before, like he said, we were taking customers would be talking on the CB radios on the way in, on the way out, and it was very difficult for our scale operators to, figure out who's talking to them and putting in the correct information. And like you said, create a large bottleneck every single morning and afternoon.
So our communication is through CB radio, and what we've done is separate the communications with the scale house operations versus the loadout operations.
But as you can see here, this is kind of an overhead drone footage of our current setup after we implemented the Apex system here. We have an auto check-in lane on the far right, which is a nice tool that after a customer comes in initially in the morning and gives us their first initial tear and gives the appropriate job information and what material they're grabbing, what we like to call a perfect repeat. If they come in throughout the day and they don't change a single thing about their job, like their material or where they're going, they can use this auto check-in lane without having any communication to our scale operator. It will automatically check them into the system and they're able to go straight back and get loaded.
And it's reading their license plate. That's how it checks the truck in.
Correct. Everything is reading license plates, which are located on the front of these trucks.
So we're able, in this instance, another scale that you don't see is a remote location about a mile away. So we're actually checking in 5 different trucks at the same time.
Yep. So a truck could be coming on, as you can see in the picture, on scale number 1. They'd be reading their information, where they're going and what material they're planning to grab to our scale operator. And then the auto check-in lane can be checking in a truck. Scale 2 and 3 on the left-hand side could be ticketing 2 trucks. And like he just mentioned, our remote location, about a mile away down the road, could potentially be ticketing another vehicle. So that's 5 things happening in one moment. It's been very helpful for us. So the process that we have, that our scale operators see every single day, and every time there's a truck that comes on the scale, is like we said, they'll read what they're doing, who they're billing it to, where the job location is, what the job number is, what material they're getting, if it's an MDOT job. And this is the screen that our scale operators actually look at while they're filling this in. They kind of work from the top down to the bottom.
Go back to the other screen for a minute, Jordan. So just to explain it, the ticket screen is showing the vehicle number, which will be Dan's 187. That's something we created. We use the first 3 letters of the customer's number, and then the auto ID is actually their license plate number. So that's how it associates the two.
So the first time they come on our property, we'll be getting their information, and we'll also input their license plate number to allow all the automation to happen for them. Other stuff that we put in, like I said, the customer number, the job location, and the MDOT job. This is the big one. If you see that line where it says government, it's a simple drop-down menu where it's a Y or an N, yes or no. Simply clicking the yes says that it's an MDOT number and automatically will put our quality control manager's signature and on the bottom of the ticket, allowing it to be an MDOT ticket to properly leave our facility. This is an example of a sheet that would be printed out at our facility. It's perforated, and there's 3 tickets, one for the driver, one for the foreman, and one for the customer's office. This is a blown-up version of one of those tickets. As you can see, if we were to put the drop-down as a yes, that bottom portion right there is the QC signature and the little paragraph allowing it, saying it's an MDOT spec material coming out of our property. It's basically all the same information that was inputted from the scale screen, just on a cleaner looking sheet. Once those trucks are checked in, whether it be on scale 1, verbally talking with our scale operator, or they're simply just coming in using the auto check-in lane, this is kind of like the screen that our scale operator will see to be able to make sure everybody is checked in properly. It's got the minutes showing how long they've been on our property. So I believe, was it 15 minutes that it turns red?
It is 15, yeah.
So it's like 10 minutes it turns yellow if they've been on our property for longer than 10 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, it will turn red, kind of signifying, hey, figure out where this truck is, make sure they're not hiding or broke down, and so we can get them out, off the property with their ticket. It's basically all the same information, just kind of helps keep tabs on everybody that's on our property.
Well, one of the things we curtail with this system is we used to have customers complain, hey, my truck's been sitting in the quarry. So this gives us the schematics, hey, truck's been checked in at such and such time, it's been loaded at another time, and it's been ticketed another time.
Yep.
So we have that all available to report if we need to run it.
We talked about the automation and the LPR and how we have a license plate. The license plates are on the front of the trucks here in Michigan. So this is a picture of the license plate recognition camera that was provided from a company through Command Elcon that they work very closely with. We have not really had any issues with these cameras ever.
No.
As a truck rolls on the scale, it will start picking up the license plate and processing it real time, automatically doing the ticketing. We have other cameras too. We have a side view camera, which will show the side of the truck with the, the DOT number for the vehicle. We have material cameras, which you can see from here, are on top of that pole that look down into the camera or into the bed of the trucks to show the material that they're hauling out. Just another safety net, I guess, to, we can ensure that they're getting the right material, and we can show, hey, they've been on the scale at this time, if anybody in the office ever had to question anything or inquire about anything.
So there's 3 camera images sorted for each ticket. Like Jordan said, there's going to be one of the front, one of the side, gives the name, the federal ID number, and the third one's going to have a picture of the material.
So there's an example of the material camera. And then as a truck is ticketed, there's a snapshot, like he just said, of each one of these photos that gets attached to that file, essentially, and it's saved on our back end here within the company. Again, we kind of touched on the auto check-in lane at the beginning of the presentation here. Again, just to repeat it, if the truck gets checked in the morning and he's all day running the same material, same job, same location, he can just come in this auto check-in lane and be automatically checked into the system to go get loaded, decrease the amount of time he's actually in our yard, hopefully bring a higher output of how many loads he's pulling out in a day.
And that check-in process, provided that they're going the speed limit, which we established at 3 miles per hour, only takes about 3-4 seconds to check the truck in.
Hopefully this is coming across nice for you, but here's a video showing the auto check-in lane in action. As you can see, that truck rolled up towards the camera, took 1 second for it to read that license plate, checked them into the system. Now he's on the screen for the scale operator, and we'll get to this later, but we actually have iPads in our loader operators, cabs, showing what trucks are checked in.
That's kind of our checks and balance system.
So within maybe 10 seconds right there, we just had 2 trucks automatically get checked in, and they didn't have to communicate with our scale operator at all. So same thing happens on the outbound when they're getting their ticket. They're going to roll up on our scale. The camera's going to read their license plate and start processing them. And then the auto ID is what it's called, basically the processing of reading that license plate and exchanging the data with the computer to eventually print a ticket. This is a screen that our scale operator sees inside the office. This is represents nothing happening on the scale. The license plate camera doesn't see a license plate at all. A truck approaches the scale, and now it starts reading it. The yellow says, hey, I see this license plate, I'm thinking, essentially. The blue says, I see and I read successfully the license plate, and it's sending the data packet to the computer. And then the green signifies that this was a success, and the ticket was printed at a printer kiosk right outside the scale, right where they pull up. If, in the case that there's an error somewhere along the lines, there will be instead of green, it will turn red. Here's an example video of that process happening. They rolled up on the scale. It starts reading the license plate, as you can see that middle right corner. And then right when it turned white, that's basically signifying that blue bar that you saw saying we have a success here. And in the top left, you'll see the ticketing information show up on the top left screen. That is where it takes a picture right there, and it's saved into the back end of our system, along with the material camera view and the side view camera view of the truck. So he grabbed his ticket, and now he's off on the road to go to the job site. Here's a picture of the printer kiosk with the printers inside where they're currently getting their tickets at our locations. Since this photo was actually taken, we added a little green light that when the scale operator sees that green bar on that little screen inside the computer we just showed a couple moments ago, they also initially will get a green light saying, hey, your ticket is on its way, because it's kind of funny how 30 seconds or 13 seconds to a truck driver feels like 30 minutes to them.
Yeah, we were getting feedback that they didn't know when the ticket was going to be sent out to the printer box. So like I said, Jordan, if you see on the lower right-hand corner of the face of the printer box, there's a green light.
Yep, right next to that little sign and the handle. So here's a picture, same setup, same footprint, but of the unattended remote site that Art mentioned earlier. Same exact process is happening, it's just happening unmanned, roughly a mile away, I would say half a mile. Same thing's happening, we have material camera over there looking into the bed of the vehicle, side view looking at the truck, the name of the truck, the number, and then obviously the front view right there. I previously mentioned it earlier where we have iPads on the cabs of our loaders. Art mentioned it as another checks and balances just to make sure that we're keeping everybody organized and we're not losing track of any customers that may be in the yard. All of our loader operators have this in the cabs. I got a picture here of a little close-up. It's essentially the same view that our scale operator sees, but like a much less condensed version, I guess. It shows the truck, the vehicle ID, the material that they're getting. That keeps coming up. And then a target weight based on their tear weight and what they can legally take out of our yard. It will automatically crunch the math and say, hey, they could take 48 ton, they could take 52 ton. Once the loader operator loads the truck successfully, he hits a blue button. This little pop-up here says to confirm that the truck was loaded. They hit yes, it disappears off of all the iPads, all the loader operators' iPads, and then we get that time number in our system so we can see the truck checked in at this time, was loaded at this time, ticketed at this time. So,
in those instances, whatever reason, the driver checks in with the wrong material and goes back to the plant to another pile other than what he's checked in with, the loader operator then calls up to the scale house and verifies the material.
Yep. Or in the case if a truck comes back there and it's not checked into the system, 9 out of 10 times that truck went around the auto check-in lane, did not communicate with our scale operator, and went and got in line. So we have a system in place where they have to come back and recheck in the proper way. Feel a little bit of pain, but they learn how to do the system the correct way. So again, we're not blindly loading trucks that aren't checked into the system. We're not loading trucks with the wrong material, and we're getting those timestamps, the whole process for each customer vehicle.
Yeah, we're actually tracking from the time they check in with the scale operator to the time they go to the pile to the time they get a ticket. For a turnaround time, that's about 12 minutes for us, which is really good.
We'll take this one, Maggie.
This report here shows all of the jobs that need to be reported to MDOT. As soon as we check it with that yes on that ticket screen, it will recognize that it is an MDOT job and automatically put this information into a report at the end of the day for our scale operators to fill out their spreadsheet to send to MDOT. This is an example of the spreadsheet we send. They all send it to me, I compile it, verify all the jobs and tonnages are correct, and then I send it off to MDOT every Monday.
Here's like a little example of something that we'll go the extra mile for our customers as well. This is an Excel sheet where we compile just like was this an MDOT job maybe?
Daily loads.
Daily loads, just to show the total loads for a customer that came into our facility. So, custom reporting. This is kind of more of the back end of the Apex world. This is the billing and setting up jobs.
This is what, yeah, we can go in and set up. If we know ahead of time a job is coming in, we can create the information, put it all in there so it's ready for the scale operators.
Yep, that way the truck driver just shows up, says, hey, I'm here for this job. It's already in the system. Doesn't have to be made on the spot, eliminating any potential mistakes for ticketing. There's a bunch of stuff that gets done over here. They upload the tickets, they can reprice them, reports, fix any issues that there might have been with a ticket. That's more Melissa's world. Post tickets, that's where they get sent out.
Yep.
Email electronic invoices. And this is, again, all through the Apex system. Everything.
Yeah, when she's done with billing, it automatically sends those invoices directly to the customers.
Another additional screen of more options for her to make custom settings and create jobs. That's just about it.
Anybody have any
Yeah,
questions?
you guys have any questions? As far as the automation goes.
So the next phase that we're looking into is how do we get the tickets via text or email? And that's where Susie Holacross hopefully will answer any questions or.
Sure. So my name is Susie. I'm with Command Alcon. I've got my counterpart here, Diana Doro, on the phone. She's going to be actually showing you the system, but I just kind of want to give you a kind of a glimpse of what I've been doing. I started working out with our customers, producers, work with some contractors. I've been up and I recognize that conference room there in where Jordan's at. But the, okay, well, Diana's just messaged she can't show it, so I will. My goal here, after working with customers for quite some time and talking about electronic ticketing and how it could benefit producers, I kept hearing the same thing over and over again that, it's great, that works, but, that won't work for our DOT partners. So I started calling up different DOTs. I'm in Ohio. I started with my state, obviously. I've spoken to Jason Clark and Tim Stellard up in Michigan before about electronic ticketing. But what we've done is created a platform that we can take all the information that Jordan and Art just showed you there and send that to the DOTs in a way that is most practical for them to view it. So I will start sharing my screen here and just kind of walk you through this real quick. Let me know when you can see it.
Yep.
I
we
can see it now.
Okay, great. So I'm currently logged in as a West Virginia DT. I'll get out of there and show you our demo site. But basically what we're doing is taking all of that information that's ticketed and we're putting it into a format that third parties can view that. That could be a contractor, that could be a state DOT agency, it could be any number of people that is interested in that material data. So all of this is shared and presented based on permissions. So obviously Great Lakes would be the one, they're generating this ticket data and they're the ones that say, okay, we want to share this with Michigan DOT, or we want to share this with, a third party contractor on this site or a contractor partner that they're working with maybe on a big roadway project. So what you see here is, I'm logged into a buyer site. So as a DOT, I would be someone on the site that is looking to accept materials. So you see this list of tickets. These are all tickets here, and you see they're all in this yellow pending status. So out on a project site, you've got a DOT inspector that's got their cell phone or a tablet, and they want to see, the tickets that are coming to their job. And this is all drilled down so that each inspector on a site is only seeing the jobs that are pertinent to them. So while Great Lakes can share, any project they wanted to a third party, obviously the DOT is only going to be interested in their job, not any commercial or residential work that might be going on. So they come in, they can drill down here. You see it comes in defaulted just to today's date because when I'm on a job site, I'm most likely only interested in the trucks that are showing up that day. I can also look at these filters here and select a certain project if I'm an inspector working maybe on multiple projects for the DOT, I can narrow that down and pick just what project I'm interested in. I can go so far as to narrow it down by a particular product, a job area, purchase order, invoice, etc. So there's a lot of different filtering that's available there. And a lot of this information I've gotten working directly with multiple states. We try to aim for the masses, and there's always some particular information or field that is specific to one state and their needs. So we try to incorporate those as well. But for the most part, working across all these states, we found the needs are similar. The DOTs are similar in what they want to see. They need to see their state ID numbers, the loads, the drivers, etc. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to interrupt me.
Susie, is there any way to enlarge your screen just a tad?
Let me give it a try here.
Yep, much better.
Okay. All right. So I've clicked on a specific ticket. Here's your ticket number right here. And this is all the same information you would see on a printed ticket today with a few additions. So you're seeing your products, what this is obviously a concrete ticket here, what the material number or load size is. You can see up here that it says not assessed with this little beaker. And that just means that there's been no testing performed on this particular load. Once it is, then that change would just to say assessed. It's going to show you what the load number is. On asphalt or aggregate, it's going to show you the accumulated tonnage. That's something we learned from states pretty quickly out of the gate, that they needed to see that rolling tonnage on the project as the day progressed. So
Tickets
go ahead.
readily, within a couple seconds to a
Yeah.
customer?
That is correct. As soon as that's ticketed, and this doesn't require any action by anybody at the plant once we have it set up, it's just taking that ticket information directly off of your loadout system, Apex, and sending it to anybody on the project that's got access to view that. So it's instantaneous. Might just be a few second delays. We had one project here that I was working on in Columbus, Ohio, where the project site was actually directly across the street from the producer. So the trucks and the tickets were just, literally seconds away, and they were pretty much hitting that site at the exact same time. But most of the time, you're going to see this electronic ticket data long before that truck shows up on the site. So you have visibility into what trucks are coming.
And there is an option per ticket, per day, per week, whatever the person is needing. So, because
yeah,
obviously they don't want to see every ticket throughout the day. I wouldn't. I'm sure most people wouldn't. Could they see a report at the end of the day for that particular job?
That is correct. And if you see, they're in the pending status here. And one of the filters I've got is the ability to also look at my received and rejected tickets. So I'll demonstrate this here in just a second with this. But when I'm in this ticket, I don't know what I just did. I've got the ability to receive and reject tickets on the site. I booted myself out somehow. Back into my demo site. So once somebody has taken an action, whether it's, putting test results in there or receiving that load on site, and again, that receive terminology is something that was requested by DOTs. We used to have accept or reject, and they found some issues with accepting that might indicate that it was accepted for payment, and they didn't want to do that. They just wanted to note that the tickets were received, or the load was received on the test site. So all these are in pending status. I go back into that ticket that I was looking at here just a second ago. And down here at the bottom, you see where you've got the ability to receive or reject. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit received on that and show it to you. I can put a note in there if I choose to. And then when I go back out here to my accept materials screen, I should have noted that ticket number. It's going to show up as a received ticket, so that yellow status would turn green. And if I don't have that filter set to see my received and rejected tickets, it's just going to go away. So as that person's working through their trucks through the day, every truck that they've taken action on is automatically removed from their list. So they've only got the trucks left that are pertinent to them, much like the loader view you showed earlier. Once that somebody in the yard has taken action on that ticket, you don't need to see that on the list and, kind of weed through those, so they could take that off. The statuses, it's going to show you when the ticketed time was, loading time, and this is based on if there's some kind of statusing system available in the truck, we will pick that up. Batch results, this is, probably only of interest to the DOT members on the call, but we do keep on concrete loads, keep all the information on the batching for concrete. We do the same, show all that data on asphalt and aggregates. The test results screen, this is definitely DOT interest here. We've got test fields for, any test that might take place on any kind of load. So for aggregate and asphalt, it's basically they want to know what the temperature of the material was. They want to know the ambient air temperature perhaps, and be able to indicate any waste on a load, as well as take notes. So that's the kind of information you can put on that test results tab. And you see this area here where it's turning red when I kind of hover over it. Say a DOT person has entered some test results, it's going to show, who modified that, what the last time was that it was modified, and what that status was. What this does is gives visibility to everybody on this project. So if someone back at the scale is taking a look at here and they can see, oh, they've tested this load of aggregates, it looks great, there's no problems. Or if somebody's got a comment, maybe, there was something, there was some mixed aggregates in the truck, unintentionally or something, they could note that on here. So somebody at the plant would have visibility that, hey, there's a problem we need to address. You can also take images, and I'm going to show you here in just a minute what this looks like on a phone. So obviously out on a phone, it's pretty easy to snap a picture with your phone and attach it here. We've got the ability to upload it from a desktop, as I'm doing right now. And what that does is gives anybody out on that job site the ability to take a picture of anything that is related to this specific ticket number. So say, the truck driver, shows up and they ask him to deliver it in a location that wasn't noted earlier. They could take a picture and say, hey, we asked the driver to discharge his load over at this spot, and just snap an image of that or something. Terms and conditions, this is basically going to be the kind of legalese text that you usually see on the back of a printed ticket. And Jordan had mentioned, certifications earlier. We also include that information on here. Again, this was a result of, DOT's requesting that this be available on each ticket. So that information is captured and displayed as well. Here you see that received ticket where I've received it. And these are actual tickets. We've got the information scrambled, so you're not seeing anything that is proprietary, but we do have permission to share these, and we have scrambled that detail. But these are live tickets coming through our system today. And you see another one has been ticketed since I received that one. And like I said, if I select these filters and take off my rejected and received loads, you're not going to see that green ticket on there. I'm only going to see the ones that are requiring some action. So I'm going to show you what this looks like on a phone. Can you see that phone image okay?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the exact same information that I just showed you, but this is what an inspector on site would be dealing with on a cell phone. So same thing, I'm just using my finger to swipe here. I've got, today's tickets. I've got that same filter selection that I could choose from. If I click on any of these tickets, I'm going to see the details just as I showed you. Formatted differently, obviously, because of the real estate available here. But all the same tabs are there. You just click through them, and obviously for a DOT member, the test results is going to be the most important thing, as this is replacing the paper process. And in most job sites I've been on, I see, the DOT worker out on the site, they're taking that paper ticket and just kind of, scrawling some notes across the top of it. Later in the day, they take that back to their truck and they transfer it to maybe a kind of a form. And then later on, even they're taking that and retyping all that into an Excel spreadsheet. With Connects, we've got the ability to take all that information directly from the app and into, whatever your end use system might be. So, a lot of states use AASHTO, where some states have their kind of own DOT systems that they've created in-house, or, from another vendor perhaps. But we're able to take all that information and send it right through from, the system there at Great Lakes out to the field, so the inspector can integrate with it and add additional information, and then back into whatever system the DOT chooses to share that with. They can do that with a bulk export. So I see you guys have already got a daily summary that you're providing, but the state could go in there and choose to provide their or create their own from here as well. It's a lot of information. Every field that you see available on a ticket or on the test results is included in this spreadsheet, so it can be pretty large. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I usually have to stop and share, but I think there's 200 columns, I believe, in that Excel spreadsheet. And you can go in there as a DOT agency, or if somebody internally at Great Lakes wanted to export that for some reason, you can customize and choose which columns and fields you choose to be exported in that document. We can also do this directly with the use of APIs. So if you've got another system that you want to send that information from Connects into, custom APIs can be written. We've got some standard ones that have already been developed, and you can send that information directly into another system. Do I have any questions? I know I'm running through this pretty quickly, but I want to be cognizant of everyone's time. Okay, well, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I mean, it's a pretty easy process for inspectors on the site, and I have talked to some hired contractors. Some states use their own personnel, others, hire third parties, do their testing for them. And I had a lady approach me at a meeting in Illinois, and she said, when I was told that I was going to be using this, I fought it. I didn't want any more headaches on my job site. And she's like, it has made my job much easier. She said I wouldn't go back to paper at this point. And from DOTs, I'm asking if they could put kind of a, some kind of value, a dollar value or something on the benefits they're seeing. And, I'm saying, well, you can't get a dollar benefit, perhaps, but what they can say is, my inspectors on the site are saving about an hour and a half a day by not having to rewrite or rekey that information into some other program or spreadsheet. So what I hear, most states are doing more work with fewer people. So being able to streamline the process for those agencies, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a DOT. We work with counties, some local municipalities. There are some cities that have their own transportation agencies, but all those people are seeing the benefits of being able to take that information from start to finish without having to rekey anything. And obviously, when you're not rekeying, you're not introducing any potential errors by mistyping something or transposing some numbers, et cetera. Well, we've also got the ability to look at a workspace here. I'll just show you this very quickly, where you can come in and see if you've got asphalt ags, concrete being delivered to the job site, you can see all that information kind of broke down into a really easy to see graph display. You can hover over this and see, pending, received, rejected, et cetera, and where those are coming from by the plant. And then we've got reports available that you can come in here and use any of these reports that have already been pre-created. We're just working, on what we've heard from different agencies and producers on what kind of reports are beneficial to them. So we've created those, and we keep adding to those as we see, need. So we've got some of those canned reports, and most states are asking for, a daily summary, and that's one of the reports that we've created down here for anyone to use. That's the quick, 20-minute view of Connects. Like I said, I'm working with many states. I usually prefer to be on site when a state is going live with the system, just to be there to ask or answer any questions or provide any feedback. But in most cases, when they get that phone app, they can see pretty quickly. It's very intuitive what needs to be done. They make that transition pretty seamless. And we also see that most states will continue to run those paper tickets at the same time when they're getting familiar with the system, so that they've got a level of comfort that the electronic ticket data is the same as what they're seeing on those printed tickets, until they're ready to pull the plugs and just go electronic. So there's numerous ways we can approach sharing those tickets with the DOTs and what their comfort level is on removing that paper entirely.
Susie, one question that I have, and that's one that kind of raises concerns with everything that goes electronic. What about if someone wanted to go in and manipulate or change a ticket once it has been created? Is there an ability to do that? Is there a kind of maybe a history or a kind of fingerprints that if someone does do that, how is that handled?
We do not allow any any changes at all to the ticket system or the data that came off that ticket system. So you can see there, you can add data to it by test results or adding images or comments, but that original ticket data cannot be changed by anyone. Now, if Great Lakes were to void a ticket, that's obviously allowed, and it'll show up as voided in the system, and you could, see that a ticket was voided if they choose to show or share those voided tickets. But the actual information coming off that scale cannot be altered by anyone. And we do keep an audit trail. It's not displayed in the app. I showed you, where you could see where someone has added comments or test results, but we do keep an audit history of, what changes were made to a ticket, who it was made by, and then it is time stamped. So all that is secure. We work with Amazon Web Services to house all of our data. We've got a scalable system, so there's never any impact based on usage. You're never going to get slowdowns because the system got bogged down, et cetera. But we do security audits both internally, and then we have Amazon Web Services has audits, and they also, try to hack your data to make sure it's secure. And if there's any issues, you get, a certain amount of time to fix those, or they're going to, go in and take action themselves and make sure that nobody can go in there and alter any of that data. And that is a concern with most states.
Okay. One other question that I have, Maggie talked about doing a upload to the DOT every week. You made it from this system you've got up right here that even the inspector at the end of the day can run a report. So really it could be the DOT running the report from this to upload into a project file, or it could be a requirement from the contractor, from the material supplier, one of those two people, correct, or entities? That
is correct. Anybody that's got access to the ticket data can generate those reports at any time. Or like I said, an API can be created to send it automatically, once a day or at a specified time. And we just had a request that I had submitted to the development team. One state said, it'd be nice, instead of me having to go in there and click 3 buttons to run this report, I'd like to just get an email with a link sent to me at the end of every day. Maybe at 11 p.m. or 2 in the morning, when I know everything's complete. And so that is something that we're looking at adding as well.
I know one other thing that we discussed whenever Susie showed you the section where it said images. One of the things that we had the ability to do is also to bring that PDF image that the GLA team showed you of their ticket as it's printed. We can send that exact PDF. So the actual PDF that Apex produces and stores can be transferred into the Connect system also.
Yes, that's a very good point, Diane. I appreciate that. And I know during COVID, Michigan, their kind of, operations to deal with COVID were to include a PDF or an image of a ticket. And you can see right up here in the corner, I've got this convert to PDF option as well. On any individual ticket, you can do that. You can also go in and select a range of tickets and then bulk export PDF. So if somebody does want an image of what we're showing here in Connects, you can do that. Or as Diana said, you can attach an actual image of that ticket in that image tab. That's all I have. If we don't have any other questions, feel free to reach out to either Diana or myself. If you think of something after the fact, we'd be happy to help.
This is Carol. I just had a question as far as, how many states are using this across the US at this point?
Oh, guys, that's kind of a running target. Right now I'm working with about 15 different states with Connects. And what we found is, a lot of states do pilots. I mean, dating back to 2016 in Iowa, a lot of states do pilots, and by all accounts it went well, but then they never roll this out, across the state. So I'm working in Iowa right now. I've been out there 3 years, and we've got, asphalt, we've got aggregate, and we've got concrete tickets on various projects, and we're working to roll that out across the state. And there are some headaches that are involved with, with different ways to approach this. Some, most states are creating specs and saying, hey, anybody that can, meet this specification can participate. Other states are just sole sourcing or developing their own e-ticketing applications. But, we've got various ways we could do this with the state. We can, use the Connects app. We're looking at a white labeled version where a state can, brand this, Michigan DOT. And that way, they don't have, many vendors providing the same type of e-ticketing data, and having their people in the field have to deal with multiple applications, or at the end of the day go out and aggregate all this data from multiple applications. But it does allow producers, contractors to use whatever software they want, but it gives them one place to send the ticket data, and then we can provide a unified face for people on the DOT side to manage that.
I did have one more question too, as far as some of the cameras and the reading of the license plates and stuff. Something that has always made me wonder, especially, with the construction sites, you get dirt, you get, license plates that degrade, that kind of thing. Are there ever issues with the reading the license plate and errors that are caused by some of that?
Yes, every now and then we'll have, excuse me, a driver will have to get out and clean their license plate, or if it's flaking, they'll have to replace it. But small percentage.
Yeah, I would say most of that would happen maybe towards the early portion of the spring, as that snow is melting and they're driving pretty quickly down the roads.
Yeah, when it's rainy and very muddy, they're so used to our system that they wipe off their plates in between round, or when they pull in, they take care of it.
I guess another thing that we didn't mention too is that smaller trucks, such as short doubles, are not required to have a license plate on the front of their vehicle. So we actually made custom license plates in-house that we give out to frequent customers, just to help them enjoy the automation that we have to offer. So.
Yeah, that's great. I really appreciate you guys. That such automation. It's wonderful. Get rid of those human error that causes a lot of the mistakes. So love it.
So Susie, one other question that I had, could you talked about states doing pilots? How is a pilot rolled out in other states? Because we have not tried that yet in Michigan. So what would kind of like a sample pilot look like?
Well, what I find is, when I'm talking to states, a lot of states will say, hey, bring me a producer and a contractor if they want to be involved, and, on a state project, and we'd be happy to take a look at your ticket data. But what we're seeing is, we offer a free pilot. So we offer that on any material type or all 3 material types. You can, for 90 days, go in there and take a look at the ticket data, provided the producer has allowed us to share that ticket data with you. And, typically that's where we start. Some states go big and they say, okay, we want to see tickets on everything. Some say, I just want this, one project, that's, however many tons of asphalt or aggregates are being delivered. We want to just try it on this one project first, or on multiple. It's really up to the state on, how defined they want their project to be. Some states want multiple districts checking it at the same time to see, if the feedback they get is consistent. You might have some people that are a little less, tech friendly and, not as interested in that, but, so by kind of sampling it across the state, they can find different users and really identify some projects that'll give them the best feedback. And that is of utmost importance to me, is getting the feedback from the states on what works, more importantly, what doesn't work, so that, we can go in there and tailor this to make sure that that we're getting the information that is most valuable to everybody.
Thank you. Well, Carol, MDOT, FHWA, we certainly do appreciate the opportunity to provide this presentation. Hopefully it was valuable, and we can move kind of the process along. So again, thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, Doug, and the rest of the team here. Obviously, e-ticketing is one of the EDC 6 initiatives that we adopted here in Michigan, and so this is really helpful for me and hopefully others to understand what's out there in the industry, what you're already using. And I think what I see in this beyond just the electronic ticketing is the wealth of other data and information that can be garnered from this by having the electronic systems. So we've seen that in other things where we've done e-construction, and I think that would be a really nice side benefit out of all this too. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, I want to express my thanks too. I mean, just the view of everything that's done at the plant and all the automation there, all the, like I said, the ability to track and keep good records on everything. It's a great peek behind the curtain to me, more than just saying, oh, we're taking, a PDF of a ticket and that's electronic ticketing. Obviously, it's so much more than that. And I really appreciate the good view, peek behind the curtain, I'll call it. So thank you very much. And like I said, I only see bigger and better things for it. So. Ted, did you have something?
Yeah, I echo what you and Tony said. I guess a question, Doug, we've got the team set up for the EDC 6 initiative with Jeremy Riley from our office and Matt Belgowan. I guess I'd be curious of how you and, I think Dan DeGraff are on it, as well as Bob Lindbeck. I guess I'm curious as far as the discussions on the team of where are we and as far as actually implementing some of this stuff.
We as kind of a subgroup, we were able to review this special provision, and I think the one that has been provided with some additional comments that Belgowan shared, I think we're good to go. I think industry is ready to just let's get something out there and let's kind of start testing the waters. And is it going to be full on? Probably not. But if we can have a couple projects in different areas of the state to kind of get some experience, I do believe we as an industry, and I believe through MDOT's work with the special provision, I think we're close. I think we're good to go.
Are you looking at it from just an aggregate supplier? I guess, how many producers actually have the software and systems in place to deploy it? Is it aggregates? Is it concrete as well?
We've got a number of producers that have Command Alcon or similar type that we can implement and go with. As you saw from what Great Lakes Aggregate showed, it's a benefit to them. So industry has already made the investment to do this because it helps the customers and it helps their accounting systems. But I also believe that asphalt and concrete have moved into this space too for the same reason. So from an aggregate, we've got a good enough handhold or a handle on enough to put pilot projects out and truly start to evaluate this.
Yeah.
One of the things we've been talking about in the committee is that in each one of these industries, you have specific things you're looking at. And so the specification that's ready to go out just about is written fairly generically, but it's got a lot of good information in it. But I think it's ready. We have some people that are able to do a demo right now, and Command Alcon has quite a few of the concrete plants have Command Alcon as their computer software that runs their plants. So that transition is pretty simple. The question becomes, does everybody have to have iPads or can we use cell phones? And that's kind of what we think the demo projects will show you. And we probably ought to try a few different ones, but the idea that we got to make sure everybody's happy that the information coming in is there, that it's, foolproof and it's protected. So people aren't going to be altering information. So chain of custody is important. And I think the demo we saw today shows you that this is a pretty robust system that's got some really high potential to actually improve what's used to be the old paper ticket by a long shot. So.
Yep, and I believe, I can't remember who mentioned it earlier, but said something about a PDF being electronic. And I see that a lot. States will scan a ticket or they'll provide a PDF. Well, it's still just a static image of a data. You can't do anything that. But when you have a system that can, disseminate each one of those fields, you can do some analytics on it. There's a lot of reporting that benefits, pretty much everybody on a project site. It's so much more useful to have that information where you can actually analyze it. And I think, Great Lakes, obviously that is, a gold star facility up there. And we, send a lot of people up there to take a look at, here's the company that's kind of, setting the standard on what you can do with this and, the efficiencies that you can gain. And the same goes with, e-ticketing. There's a lot more efficiency and, knowledge sharing that could take place if you've got that information available quickly and, accurately.